This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
A very good afternoon and welcome to News Tonight with me, Ashmit Kumar. Now, the Maharaja of air travel in the country, Air India, is again in turmoil, this time not for a debt-laden balance sheet, but due to internal strife as pilots fly Air India right into turbulence with a strike. It's deja vu as passengers recall a similar strike in 2009 that crippled air traffic in the country. It's early days now, but as dominoes begin to tumble, what's in store for the passengers? Our reporter Pratiksha will answer that one question.
Yes, as Air India continues to try solving their problems, it does turn to burn holes in passengers' pockets and turn a bonanza for private airlines. I'm Pratiksha Ramkumar and I will be bringing you more details in this bulletin.
Right, Pratiksha, we'll get back to you for more on that. But first, let's take a look at the top stories at this hour. The Maharaja is caught in yet another tussle. In the face-off between pilots and management, 16 Air India flights from Chennai are cancelled. The MBBS rush is all set to begin. Aspiring medical students can queue up at the MBBS applications from May 16th. Bonded labourers rescued from Poneri. NGOs say that the practice is widespread and targets the economically weaker sections. Encroachers reduce the road space for residents of Ambattur. Choke roads makes life difficult for pedestrians.
Road இது மாதிரி இருக்கு தண்ணி லாரி வரல அந்த ஸ்கூல் வேன் வராது அந்த மாதிரி இந்த ரோட் இப்படி இருக்கு இல்லையா அதனால வர மாட்டாங்க.
Med Sciences University gets a legal boost in the tussle with Chennai Metro. Madras High Court says university land cannot be acquired entirely. Cries against the Sri Lankan president continue in the wake of the UN report on war crimes. Advocates burn his effigies. Wipro chief puts his corporate weight behind the anti-corruption movement, pleads to the Prime Minister to root out corruption. And for every 6 that will be smashed this IPL, there's more reason to celebrate. For every 6, money to be transferred to a charitable trust. Let's also have a look at the top developments coming in from across the country. Congress and the DMK members gave a point-by-point rebuttal of Joshi's report on the PAC meeting. Joshi's report defeated by 1 vote. Brace yourself for more flight cancellations today, striking pilots to move the Supreme Court after High Court orders them to stop the strike. Flight data recorder of Air France plane that crashed in 2009, killing all 228 on board, is found off the coast of Brazil. NDTV's cricket experts differ from the BCCI's choice of Duncan Fletcher as India's coach. Well, in the top story at this hour, bad news for passengers now. 16 flights from Chennai were cancelled as a direct outcome of the unrest within Air India between the pilots and the management. Now, the pilots are demanding pay parity with older pilots. The striking Air India pilots refuse to back down even after the Delhi High Court ordered them to go back to work. Now, the pilots are likely to approach the Supreme Court to hear their appeal. Meanwhile, yesterday, Air India sacked 6 pilots and de-recognized their association. And in what could worsen the situation, 25 executive pilots from Delhi, 32 from Mumbai and around 20 from Chennai have now called in sick this morning, which could have a cascading impact on flight schedules. Now, for the latest on these developments and, of course, the impact on passengers, let's go across to our reporter, Pratiksha, who's joining us live from the airport. Now, Pratiksha, a quick word right now. We understand that 16 flights were cancelled. That's quite a significant number. Were there any complaints coming in from the passengers?
Not really, Ashmit. Passengers were seen complaining a little yesterday, but today they were pretty much prepared for this disaster. In fact, most passengers were informed by the airlines yesterday night itself that most likely their flights were likely to be cancelled, and they had to arrange for alternate travel arrangements. And in fact, today we did not even see too many waiting passengers. In fact, the airport hardly saw just a handful of passengers here waiting, and even they were actually trying to get tickets from other private airlines, because even the flights in the evening that were cancelled were informed to the passengers in the afternoon itself. So it did not really come as a surprise to them. So today there were not many complaints as such. And the Air India officials, according to reports we have received, and the Indian Airlines officials have been helpful. Accommodations have been arranged for all the passengers in across city hotels, and they're even offering help in talking to other private airlines, finding out if there were vacancies, empty seats basically for the passengers to get through to them.
Right. Right. So, Pratiksha, the airline operators have been proactive in this one case. But are there other cases surfacing at this point of some of the other airline operators charging extra in accommodating these Air India passengers at this point? Have there been any cases of inflated airfares in any case?
Yes, Ashmit. In fact, a lot of private airlines, though they refuse to actually confirm a percentage of an increase or even come on camera confirming it, we have got reports that their sales has increased a lot, especially after it has been announced that Air India is going to close domestic airline bookings for the next 5 days. So after that, most private airlines operating out of Chennai have seen a huge surge in their bookings, Ashmit, which has actually prompted them to increase their airfares, Ashmit.
That's some concern there, but also there will be a lot of concern if we can just remember the strike in 2009. It threw air traffic in India out of gear. Now, this is expected to be a long fight between the pilots and, of course, the management at this point. Any word on that tussle, and if at all there is a reprieve for the passengers in store in the coming few days?
Ashmit, it does seem to be a deadlock right now. In fact, Indian Airlines actually saw this, which is why they actually cancelled all bookings over the next 5 days. Now, whoever passengers they have, they are trying to push them into other airlines. So obviously, even they do not really hope that this strike will get over the next 5 days, because Air India has stuck to its stance, saying that they cannot actually increase the Indian Airlines pilots' pay and make it on par with the Air India pay, because first of all, they feel that the pilots are getting paid enough sufficiently, and they do not really see a reason for the sudden hike. And also the fact that Indian Airlines has been in the red for so many years that the whole affordability of this increment really comes into question, Ashmit. But the pilots too are being very, very stubborn. They do not back down to. They say that they definitely require an increase in pay. And now the main first condition would be the reinstallation of ICPA. They are planning to move to the Supreme Court for this. And they are also being very clear that they're done talking to Indian Airlines. They do want to approach the aviation minister directly, Ashmit.
Right, Pratiksha. Thanks a lot for joining in from the airport with all these latest details about the tussle between the pilots and the management of Air India. Let's move ahead now. Even as the Vet Sciences University locked horns with the Chennai Metro project over land acquisition, the Madras High Court has slapped some strict conditions on Chennai Metro for acquisition of that piece of land. The first bench maintained that the whole of 9.27 acres of land in question cannot be acquired. The court directed that only portions of the land required for rail lines can be bought. Meanwhile, Metro Rail Limited will also be required to dish out 50 crore rupees to the university. However, the Madras High Court didn't stop there. The court orders have prohibited the use of the acquired land for shopping complexes, malls, entertainment facilities or film shoots. The court has also slapped the condition that for the felling of 28 trees, 280 trees or 10 times that number should be planted by the Metro Rail. The first bench of the High Court also said that the birds and deers in the university land should be protected with the help of Tamil Nadu Forest Department.
Our aim was that the entire thing, because the Chennai Metro Rail Limited blueprint said that after acquiring this land, they will create a cinema hall, entertainment hall, then corporate houses and industrial houses will be there, and at a later stage those lands will be sold. So their acquiring that properties was not genuine. This is what we challenge. The court found that it is not for the purpose of exclusive purpose of railway transportation, is not taken. There is something behind that. That is the reason why the court made it very specifically in its order. No, you cannot have cinema theatre or entertainment halls. You cannot conduct any shows. You cannot have corporate houses. You cannot have industrial houses. So ultimately, what their object has been scattered down by the order. The ends of justice has been met.
On more news, 500 bonded labourers who were rescued by an NGO, the International Justice Mission, last evening from a brick factory in Poneri have now been provided transportation and have been moved back to their respective towns. Now, most of them are believed to have been from the UP, Orissa and Chhattisgarh and were reportedly working in SLG brick chambers. Now, approximately 143 families, which includes 500 people, including 110 children, were rescued and then taken to the Poneri Government Boys School. Well, we were joined in our studios by Hepzibah Sundar, the Director of Community and Government Relations, who joined us and gave us a sense of the scale of this social evil.
Some of the laborers in different pockets working, and it was noon time, so some of them were probably having food, and mostly we saw women actually working, loading bricks into the truck, and some men in the baking area laying up the bricks there. And so as a part of the inquiry process, the government officials came in and we gathered all the laborers towards the government officials and the RDO. He actually inquired the brother of the person who lodged a complaint, and on inquiry, when he found that they were bonded laborers, he asked, how many of you want to go? And you would see like immediately people raising hands, and suddenly all the hands went up. And the RDO was still deciding, because it was a huge number, how to get them all out. And after a couple of discussions with the collector, he came back and he said, we can take them all out. And you could really hear people bursting out with a loud shout of joy. And I remember personally interacting with a couple of women laborers and asking them, you know, what was actually difficult for them working in this facility. And they said, see, we came here for, you know, for food. We actually work here for food, and we don't even get proper wages. We are not allowed to go out whenever we want. Even if we want to go out only on Sundays, one of the family members is allowed to go out and buy purchase. And even he's sent out with somebody called as Munsif, who takes them to the market and brings them back.
Now, the Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa's effigy was burnt outside the Madras High Court by a section of advocates citing the recently leaked UN report, which claimed the Sri Lankan president's role in war crimes. Now, the report cited the use of heavy artillery in many no-fire zones, resulting in heavy civilian deaths. Well, summer is here, the season of results and admissions, and 2 days after Plus 2 results are announced on May 14th, application forms for MBBS courses would be out. Now, Health Secretary V.K. Subburaj, who announced this, also said that the sale of forms closes on June the 2nd. Students who make the cut will know their fate when the merit list is announced on June 21st. Now, the first phase of counselling will start on June 30th. There are 1,653 MBBS seats in 17 government medical colleges and 635 seats in 8 self-financing medical colleges. Meanwhile, there are 85 seats in 1 government dental college and 891 seats in 17 self-financing dental colleges. And corporate heavyweight Azim Premji has a word of advice for the Prime Minister. We'll tell you more about it on the other side.